All right, welcome back to another Tul World podcast. I'm your host, David Ju, and I'm here with Master Ju.
And how's it
going?
going?
It's going good.
It's going great. Another great day. It's sunny out here in California.
All right.
No water.
That's a different story. But,
That's a different story.
that's a story for a different day.
Do you need water when you're training?
Yes.
That's not about this podcast. So, but
But you, I never see you drink any water.
no, because I train not to drink water.
It's pretty bad.
Only when it's done, then you can. I mean, if you're in a situation and you go, wait, stop, I need to go get some water.
But if you're
Back
always
to that.
hydrated, then you don't need to do that.
So I'm always hydrated.
But you're not always hydrated. I hardly see you
Camel.
drink any water. Yeah.
Camel.
So what do you ever do when you have a student that comes from another school?
That's a good question. I know there's a lot of schools that just go, you're white belt.
That's the easy route.
That's the easy route.
Because, if they just take it, then they just progress as a regular student.
Yeah.
Well, it also depends on
It
what
kind
the
of depends on the
school's
school and the
system
style.
and how to get them caught up, or do
Right.
they actually require them to get caught up?
Right. Well, let's throw it back to you. And what is your thoughts?
Well, why don't we start with what we do? So we usually make them, try to learn some of the past requirements before they're able to move forward.
Right.
That could be a while for some students.
Well, that's also this is another issue that you might have is that people do different martial art. So would you honor their particular rank? In other words, it's a jiu-jitsu guy, and he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Would you just give him a black belt in Taekwondo or not? Ooh, that's getting a little bit too complicated, isn't it?
That's interesting because that one is non-striking martial art.
Right. Well,
Okay, well let's
just
talk
stick with the striking.
The striking
art.
ones, like they did karate,
Karate.
MMA, Taekwondo.
Taekwondo.
Yeah. So.
Well, make it even easier. Let's just say Taekwondo because there are actually kind of different Taekwondos and even different organizations and different requirements and those kind of things. So let's just kind of maybe talk about that a little bit. In our studio, yes, we actually kind of give them the option. And why do we give that option? This is my perspective. Someone that's done martial art, let's say, regardless, if they're, let's say karate or WT, whatever, they've been, and let's say they've been doing it for 2 or 3 years, 4 years. And so their kicks can be pretty good.
Yeah.
And I mean, fundamentally, the kicks are kicks and punch are punches. There are differences in the philosophies and whether you do sine wave or not sine wave and all those kind of things. And those are little details that are not necessarily, for me, it's not the end all.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you get someone that comes in and he's, let's say, I was a brown belt. Well, I don't have a brown belt in Taekwondo, but your kicks are pretty good. Would you just slap him and give him a white belt and says, no, you got to start over, even though he doesn't even look like the other white belt,
Right.
right? You can tell that person has some training. So our studio kind of gives the student an option. If you like, we'll give you something that's relatively equivalent. Or if you like, you can start from white belt. But we also require them to learn all of the requirements to that rank before they can move on. Good and bad, right? I mean, because the thing about our requirements is it's not just the kicks. Because we have like the patterns. If they did Pumseis and they don't know how to do Dangun, that's a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, because the whole class is doing Dangun, high rank, but they don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
It kind of makes the higher rank, people might look at it and say, oh, that high rank's not too good. He doesn't even know Dangun.
Right.
Right? But obviously it's something they have to learn. And so we ask them to learn their requirements before they move on to the next rank. And how long does it take? I don't know. Get that all the time. How long does it take? I don't know. It depends. I've had someone that came as a blue belt, and they caught up within 6 months or something. They learned it fast and no problem. They learned all the patterns, and it was not a big deal. And then we have some students that have been at that rank for the last 2 or 3 years. Are they going to ever move forward? He's working on it.
Yeah, right,
I feel bad,
right.
but how can you move forward if you can't do those things?
It's those situations that make it seem like, oh, you should just start them back at white belt, when they first come in. But I think you said you also had some success stories from people coming in at high ranks.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we recently have someone that came from, I don't know if it was Taekwondo or it was at karate. She was a black belt. And yeah, she had all the basic fundamental skills of kicking and punching and that kind of stuff. Came, I think, as a 10 or 11, pretty young. And in order for our students to become a second degree, they have to be 14 years old. And that's going to be like, you tell them, well, you can't be a second degree for another 3 or 4 years. That's a long time.
That's a long time.
What do you do? If the goal was to become a second degree, maybe they shouldn't have changed schools, right? But that wasn't the reason.
Right.
Well, I don't know exactly the reason, but I knew that it was going to be a long process. So first of all, well, let's get you up to speed, get caught up, and it took a while for sure.
Yeah.
You saw lost a little interest because you're just kind of doing the same things. But I was trying to go, well, let's focus on going to competition. Maybe go to the qualifier, maybe so that you could become to be able to compete at the world championship. And she said, oh, okay, yeah, let's try. And it's been like 3 or 4 years. And now she is now going to be competing at the ITF World Championship in Amsterdam in next month.
Yeah.
So, well, actually, this podcast might be coming out by that time.
Yeah, maybe.
So anyway, yeah, if I had said, nope, here's a white belt, would she have joined?
Maybe not.
Maybe not. And so, good or bad, I don't know.
Right.
In this case, I would say that's great, and she's able to go. She's learned the requirement. She's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, wow, the technique has greatly improved. I mean, I guess that's all subjective of what people think is good or not good. But from when she started, and obviously she's older, so things would change anyway, probably.
Right.
But yeah, it's. I would say that's good. I think that was a good move that she came in as her existing rank and is able to move forward.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts?
No, I agree with that.
So I'm sure there's a lot of instructors who, no way, we're not doing that.
Right.
Well, the other thing too is I also kind of want to acknowledge that they had the discipline to do martial art and to say, whatever you learned before is just not good enough for us. You're now back to a white belt. But they put in a lot of time and effort as well to become that rank under their system, under their instructor. And I mean, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. That's just my feelings.
You just give them the option.
Give them an option.
So
Most times they take it though.
Yeah.
And that's not always true. We have a black belt that I think was a red belt in a different school, and he elected to do white. I says, no problem.
Yeah.
And moved on and
He had
earned
a
his
black belt?
Got to be a black belt. Became a
Right.
black belt.
Sometimes that is the easier road
Sometimes.
because you kind of know where you're at. But
Well,
that could
when you-
also be.
Yeah, when you come from a high rank, let's say if you come in as a red belt, and now you're expected to do all of this, but you haven't caught up. And
Yeah.
so that's the
tough.
hard part.
That's very
You
tough.
got to start from ground one and go,
Yeah.
okay, you got to do Chunji first.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right.
And that can take a while as well.
All right. Well, let us know your thoughts on students coming in from other ranks at your school. I guess this wouldn't really apply to people that don't have schools, but I think most people that watch this probably have a school.
Well,
Is that right?
that's also true for like maybe a student that might have seen this. What's
No,
going to
no,
happen?
that's true.
What's going to happen? I moved and I'm going to another place. I mean, I've had students that moved to a different state and went to a different school, and they were such a rank, and they sent me an email saying, "Oh, I've got my black belt," and I read back, "Great, that's a short amount of time. Must have been that they honored your rank."
Right.
I didn't ask them if they honored their rank, but given the timeline, I was like, "That's great,"
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
And so, yeah, that's awesome.
Right. Well, let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to be safe,
Keep training.
and we'll see you guys next time.
Taekwon.